Welcome to How to Sell Your High Ticket Coaching Program with a single, sexy, signature speech with your host, me, Majeed, like magic. Welcome, everybody. Please turn your phones on mute. And at the end of this presentation, I will take your questions. I'm a professional speaker, have been a card-carrying member of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers and started the journey back in 2009. Here we are in 2023 with your updated, wish I would have known this when I got started, strategies. And you'll notice the title of today's talk is How to Sell Your High-Ticket Coaching Program with a Single Sexy Signature Speech. Now, I never heard of the words high-ticket coaching program when I started my speaking career, and that's because I didn't know I needed one. But I will make the strong recommendation that if you want to have a speaking career, you should have a high-ticket coaching program. And I don't use the word should lightly, but I am trying to help you go from an impoverished professional speaker to a prosperous professional speaker. And what shifted for me from being a poor professional speaker to a rich professional speaker was having a high-ticket coaching program. So what is a high-ticket coaching program? High ticket refers to the price being relatively high. And I would define that as $3,000 or more. And the reason why I recommend having a high-ticket coaching program is because there will always be a percentage of your audience who wants to work with you, the expert, the speaker. And working with you directly, it might be you telling them and teaching them the exact same stuff you wrote in your book, the exact same stuff that's in your online course, the exact same stuff you just taught in that same keynote, but they want you to help them apply it to their situation. And so what I'm going to show you is how I started to implement having a high-ticket coaching program available whenever I gave a talk. And I also want to share with you that I used to think that as a professional speaker, I should make a new talk every time I gave a talk, because I didn't want people to have to see the repeat of the same talk. I think that's not a great idea. Let's get everybody on mute. I'm going to jump in here and see if I need to mute anybody. All right, I'm going to go through and mute. All right, great. So this is me. I'm Majeed like magic. And I always say Majeed like magic because when you say it with the beat, it makes it easy to repeat. And I'm not just trying to be easy to remember, ladies and gentlemen. I'm trying to be impossible to forget, unforgettable. And what helps as a professional speaker is having an unforgettable personal brand. So one of the things we do here at Expert Speaker, my company, is we take entrepreneurs who have competition and we turn them into a category of one where there are no competition because there's only one of you. And we get you to have a personal brand that is distinct and different. And in the word of professional speaker, Hall of Fame professional speaker, Sally Hogshead, she says, different is better than better. So let's get you different. So my different is I am bold, smart, and fun. Those are my three words that align my personal brand. And the next 45 minutes are going to be bold, smart, and fun for you to be able to make lots of money as a speaker. For me, the reason I wanted to make lots of money as a speaker is I wanted to travel the world and make money as I travel. And for me, that means getting paid speaking engagements, getting flown around on a speaking circuit. And I've done that. And I've done retreats, international retreats. In fact, we have our next international retreat coming up in July in Budapest. We have 8 out of 10 spots sold. And that retreat is about selling high-ticket programs from abroad, traveling profitably. If you're interested in that, send me a message. So I've been training corporate since 2009 on leadership and communication. I've been speaking at high schools, colleges, and universities on the topics of entrepreneurship and freedom for young budding professionals. I've spoken on stages of healthcare professionals because I'm really passionate about helping integrative and holistic healthcare practitioners sell their programs to help more people. It's a topic and cause near and dear to me. So I position myself for them as the public speaking coach for functional medicine health practitioners who want to grow their business with a single sexy signature speech. I love learning and I love teaching, but teaching is not going to pay the bills. I grew up in the United States. Teachers were considered living below the poverty line. But I consider myself a teacher, but in a much more profitable way. I'm a professional speaker. I'm a high-ticket coach. I run a coaching company. I run a training company. I have a library of online courses. And right now, as I'm training you, as I'm working with you right now, literally hundreds of thousands of people are watching my videos around the world. I have hundreds of thousands of followers, millions and millions and millions of video views, and every day it blows my freaking mind the impact that we can have speaking on other people's little screens. So let's begin. Imagine yourself on stage in front of a room full of people who desperately want to know what you know. And you're teaching in a way that's inspiring, it's transformational, it's stories that capture the imagination and the emotion. You're showing them literally step by step what to do to help themselves in their situations. And some of them have come to the conclusion as you're talking, man, I want to hire that speaker. I want to work directly with that person. Imagine finishing your speech to a thunderous applause, a standing ovation, and a line of people ready to pay you thousands of dollars to work with you directly. You have a program set up that they can pay you $5,000 and become a client, and it scales very nicely. You can take 10 clients, you can take 20 clients, you can take 100 clients. Imagine 20 people in the room out of an audience of 100 sign up for your $5,000 coaching program. You just made $100,000 standing in front of the room, doing what you love, teaching. This is that single, sexy, signature speech that sells your high-ticket coaching program. How would it impact your life to be able to give a talk and make $100,000? I'll tell you the time I did that in Toronto, Canada. It was September 2019. I was at the Perfect Practice Live conference with 200 functional medicine doctors in attendance at Sachin Patel's Perfect Practice Live. And I told the story that I will tell you today, the first time I ever told the story of how my mother was diagnosed bipolar and put on toxic lithium pills, medical psychomed prescriptions. And I told this story for the first time publicly. I called my mom the night before and I said, Mom, is it okay if I tell this story? And she said, hey, if it helps people, you can tell the story. Because I'll be honest, I was a little bit embarrassed, a little bit ashamed that my mom was losing her mind and taking lithium pills. But I told this story. And I said, guys, I said to the functional medicine doctors in the room, I said, you guys got to get out there and help more people like my mom. Because it turns out my mom actually watched a free presentation that led to her investing in a high-ticket wellness program that transformed her health. She lost weight, she detoxed, she got super healthy, she ate whole foods, and it changed her life just because some doctor somewhere in Carbondale, Illinois, USA, gave a free talk. And I said, guys, you guys got to get out there and give more talks.
Everybody's there for him.
Yeah. All right. We got some. Putting you on mute, silly goose. All right. So that day, I'm on stage with 200 functional medicine doctors in the room, and I put my calendar link on the screen, and I said, book a call with me. I want to help you. And by the time I got to my chair, after a standing ovation, I had 50 calls booked in my calendar. I remember it was like the whole next month was just like, I had no time, just because I do 1 hour strategy calls. And so I got to talk for the next month to 50 functional medicine doctors. It totally changed my life because these guys are like freaking geniuses. They're like little health rebels. And it also generated $250,000 for my business. So I got to work with dozens of doctors and got to help them all build speeches and grow their practice and get more clients. And I decided, like, I just want to help. I want to help healthcare practitioners who are doing really good work. Like, these guys are so brilliant, doing such important work. But more importantly, it really transformed my business. I thought, man, if I can get on a stage and make $250,000, how does that like totally change my life? I mean, it totally changed my life. I'll be honest, it totally changed my life. It made like so much possible for me. So I want you to take a moment right now and consider, if you had the perfect speech and the perfect audience, and you can sell your ideal clients on your high ticket offer. Maybe it's a $5,000 course or coaching program. Maybe it's a $10,000 retreat. Maybe it's a $50,000 consulting package. If you could make tens of thousands of dollars from a speech, how would that transform your life? Go ahead and chat into the chat right now how your life would change if you had this speech and you delivered it at the right moment to the right audience with the right offer. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. And that's what I'm going to help. For those of you who want my ongoing support, I'm going to invite you to book a call with me. And there's an implementation program where we'll actually do this together. But I'm going to teach you how to do it right now. Chat it into the chat box. How would it change your life if you had this speech? Wilma says, it will change tremendously. And Wilma, be more specific. How exactly, how specifically will your life change? The reason it's important for you to know this is you got to get committed to the vision of why it's important for you to learn this speech. Okay, so you're in the right place here for this training. If you have a high ticket offer, or if you would like to have a high ticket offer, I'll tell you what I offer is a $5,000 online course / coaching program. You work with me directly and you take this online course. I've sold millions of dollars in online courses, and I really believe they should not be priced at $50. They should not even be priced at $500 because people aren't committed enough at a low ticket price point. One of the ingredients you need is you need your client to be deeply committed. You need your client to be deeply invested. It's easier to get great results for your clients when they invest a significant amount of money. You show up more, they show up more. So let's not be cheap. This is not the training for low ticket offers. I don't know how to do low ticket offers. I've never done low ticket offers. I don't believe in low ticket offers. I don't think it's doing anybody any favors. Nandini says life would be stress-free. I would enjoy my independence, and I don't enjoy having to hustle. Amazing. And I know Nandini, she's here because she's launching a coaching practice, helping catering professionals increase their business because she's been catering for over 20 years. Imagine having a coach who's been in your business for 20 years, teaching you what to do and what not to do. What would that be worth to a catering company? Easily $10,000. Imagine, Nandini, you offer your services for $10,000 and you help someone go from 100,000 in revenue to 500,000 in revenue. You're going to help them avoid costly mistakes. You're going to help them save time. So coaching is an extremely valuable service when it's the right program for the right client. Wilma says, I'm going to have freedom and flexibility, making a difference in the lives of others, money in the bank. Yes. So what would you do with that freedom? What would you do with that flexibility? How would you shower that abundance on the people that you love? So Mr. or Miss Sunderji says, gives me freedom to make choices, hold me back, and now be able to share my talents. Great. So imagine having the freedom to choose your own time. Imagine having the freedom to work wherever you want, whenever you want. Imagine having the freedom to invest in the relationships that you want to invest in. Imagine having the freedom to be generous and give money to the causes that you care about or to the people that you care about because you have so much abundance, not just because you're making money and have money in the bank, but because you now have a skill that you'll have for the rest of your life that you can generate income on demand. Got some battery warning here. Oh, that's my phone. Okay. Plugging in the phone. All right. So you're in the right place. If you have a high ticket offer or you want to have a high ticket offer, I can help you create a high ticket offer. If you're ready to speak to larger audiences online or in person, if you want to get paid to speak, and if you're open to learning. As I said, I've been in this professional speaking industry for 15 years, and I'm going to give you the one big insight that I wish I had at the beginning. So this is for you if you want to make an impact and make a difference in the world with your knowledge. It's for you if you don't mind getting paid lots and lots of money. And I do work through a lot of money mindset issues with my clients, because you're going to have to learn how to receive large sums of money and not sabotage yourself. That's kind of what I found after working with 400 different experts is, like, not everybody's super comfortable receiving $10,000, $20,000. And so we get to work on whatever's going on there. This is for you if you can follow a step-by-step system. I gave this system to a new client. She made $23,000 in 2 weeks following these steps. I gave this system to another new client who it's been 3 months and she hasn't done the steps. So you got to just be able to follow the steps. It's not for you if you want to reinvent your own process. It's not for you if you can't follow basic instructions. I've really broken it down really, really simple, and I put it into a book, and I'm going to offer you the book for free, because some of you are going to want to do this for free, and that's totally fine. You can figure out what to do, read my book, follow the steps, and do it yourself if you don't like having a coach helping you every step of the way. So there's going to be a free option for those of you who want to just have the system, follow the steps. I have it all laid out in the book. If you follow the steps in the book, you're going to be just fine. If you're not the kind of person who can pick up a book and implement on your own, and you do better, you get better results with a coach, then you should book a call with me at the end of this. All right. So teaching. Teaching does not create sales. It feels good, but it doesn't create sales. There's something else that creates sales for you. This is what we've built as our model at Expert Speaker. We tell stories to create images and emotion to inspire and lead our audience. We have impact on the left, we have income on the right. Speaking and storytelling create impact. When you're doing speaking and storytelling, you are an inspirer. On the right, we have income, entrepreneurship, which is solving problems profitably, and sales, which is helping people make the decision to purchase, helping people make the right decision for them. When you're doing entrepreneurship and sales, you're a profiter. When you're doing sales and speaking, you're a marketer. When you're doing storytelling and entrepreneurship, you're a leader. When you're doing all four of these at the same time, you're an expert speaker. So we're going to turn you into an expert speaker by making you a savvy entrepreneur who has the skill of helping people make the right decision in sales, and turning you into a performing artist where you're speaking powerfully and you're telling great stories so that you can create vision and emotion in your audience that inspires them to take action. So I'll tell you the story of Chris Kadowski. We branded him as the body hacker. So this guy, he's an absolute genius when it comes to the body. He'll tell you down to the cellular level what's going on with your body. He's written books about it. He's a physiotherapist, and he helps people lose weight. And he was struggling to get clients, and he was giving these presentations, and they were getting super nerdy, getting really into the details about the cells and the mitochondria and real detailed stuff. But it wasn't until he learned storytelling that he started selling his programs like hotcakes. And when he learned storytelling, he can tell stories like this. A before and after story. This is like a transformation story. So here's a before and after picture of a woman who went from apparently overweight to hot and sexy with the weight loss, right? The before and after stories. So think about a before and after story that you can tell about one of your clients. And we have a structure for this. We have a model for this, and it's called the Success Story Framework. And it helps your audience imagine themselves as the before picture. And your ideal client right now is the before picture. They're like struggling with their problem, and they want to be the after picture. And so you tell a story that helps them kind of go on that journey in their mind, and they're nodding along and they're thinking to themselves, yes, I want to go on this journey. You tell that story and it helps them see what it would look like to work with you, right? I'm going to be doing that in this presentation so you can see me doing it as I'm telling stories of my clients, right? In fact, I'm doing it right now, telling you about Chris. So Chris came to me and he was barely paying the bills. Brilliant, genius guy, very effective at what he does, was not selling his program. After working with me, he can walk into a CrossFit gym and say, hey, I'd love to put on a free presentation for your attendees. I won't charge a dime about how to lose weight and keep it off. Can I give that presentation? The gyms all say yes, because they want their clients to lose weight and look sexy. And the little dirty little secret amongst gyms is nobody loses weight at the gym. They lose weight in the kitchen. So Chris helps them make better, smarter food decisions. So now the gyms get to have these sexy before and after pictures, and they just bring Chris in to give free presentations. Now, at the end of the free presentation, Chris passes out a form to work with him where you fill in the blanks and sign up for his $5,000 coaching program. So after working with me, Chris, every presentation he gives 2, 3, 4 new clients. So imagine getting $10 or $15 or $20,000 cash deposited in your bank account every time you gave a quote unquote free speech. So this is a client getting speech. This is a client getting speaking strategy. All right. I'm going to tell you about my friend, Erica Flint. She runs a hypnosis company and she trains hypnotherapists and certifies hypnotherapists. She went to this conference where she really wanted to get the attention of the leadership because it's important for her to have like a high status position in the community of hypnotherapists. So we worked on a speaking strategy where she's speaking to hypnotherapists, talking about why they should get certified or how to get certified in her method. And we specifically came up with a strategy to get the leadership of the NGH, which is the National Guild of Hypnotherapists, to come and watch her talk. And so she texted me this right after her talk and she said, I killed it. And I said, let's go and debrief afterwards today. And she said, I want to share a huge win with you. After the talk, the president of the NGH came over to the group of people I was talking with, pointed right at me and said, now that is the future of NGH. The next day, she was awarded a NGH Visionary Award. She says, this is a huge award. I've been trying to get it for years, and I know it's because I've been stepping up. You're a big part of that, helping me. Thank you so much. So speaking can really dramatically catapult your status in your industry, the level of respect and authority you have by your peers. There are very few things that drive credibility as much as speaking on stage. You can publish a book, you can get featured in Forbes, you can do a TED Talk, but speaking on stage, especially in front of industry peers, really puts you on another level. And just think about the conferences that you've been to, and think about the speakers that you've seen, and think about how in your mind, you kind of put them a little bit on a pedestal, right? You almost, you want to get their autograph, you want to take your picture with them, you want to ask them a question, and you're like, oh my gosh, the speaker answered my question, I should follow their advice. It's a natural human instinct to believe the credibility and authority of a speaker. Hopefully it's working right now because I'm speaking on this presentation, okay? But I'll tell you personally, when I was a kid, I just loved making people laugh. I loved being a performer. I was in plays. I would do comedy. I really loved the stage. And I also loved learning and personal development. And I love sharing what I've learned through story and whatever other effective ways. My first job out of college was a teacher in Japan. So I love teaching, but I don't want to go broke teaching. I want to teach and help people in a really impactful way and generate lots of income at the same time. By the way, that income has allowed me to reinvest in my business to produce high quality content and give it away for free, like I'm doing right now on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all over the place. That's where the hundreds of thousands of viewers and hundreds of thousands of followers are getting content for free. And this is what I would recommend for you too, is give away everything for free and Have a high ticket offer that coaches that you can work with people privately, because there's still going to be people who want to hire you to apply all of your genius to their situation. Okay. Mark Cordone came to me. He said, Majeed, I love speaking. I want to get paid to speak. I want to get paid speaking engagements. And I gave him my paid speaking engagement strategy. We call it the stage getting campaign. He implemented like crazy. And within 2 months, he got 15 paid speaking engagements, $2,500 each. And I'll tell you the secret for this one. I said, Mark, go to a network that has lots of chapters. Speak at one of them for free, and then tell them, if you like that, pay me to do the next 15. Okay, he did something like that where it was the same organization that booked him on 15 different speaking engagements, all paid $2,500 each. So that's a great strategy. We just had our client, Josh Rimini. I don't have a slide up for him, but he's a pharmacist who helps other pharmacists become more profitable. He was paid to speak in front of thousands of pharmacists, which are his ideal clients. And then the association paid him $75,000 to coach 75 pharmacists for 6 weeks. So he's getting paid to coach 75 pharmacists for 6 weeks, which we are now turning into a high ticket program for him to turn around and sell for up to $25,000. He's going to have 3 tiers, a $6,000 tier, a $12,000 tier, and a $25,000 tier coaching program. So he's actually getting paid to develop his coaching program, 75 grand, all from this sort of same strategy. Speak to an association and make them an offer to pay you for more, right? Now I'm going to give you my number one insight. I'm going to turn off the slideshow so I can just look you straight in the face. Number one insight, here it is. Okay, ready? Okay, if you're ready, put both hands up. Give me jazz fingers. You're ready. Okay, here's the number one insight I got as a professional speaker. Don't look for paid speaking engagements. Speak to the right audience with the right offer and make 100 times more. And here's what I mean by that. The most I've ever been paid to talk to a group is $10,000. It was Fair Trade International, Washington, D.C. They paid me $10,000, flew me down. I gave them a talk, 10,000 bucks. The most I've ever made at a speech is 250,000 at one speech. And I was not paid to give that speech. That was a free speech to the right audience with the right offer. So here's the number one thing. If you remember nothing else, remember this. If you want to make a lot of money as a speaker, focus on giving the right speech to the right audience with the right offer, which is the thing that they pay you for, the audience. The audience is where the money is. It's not the check from the conference who pays you to go give the speech. Those checks are rare and they're very competitive and they're mostly dedicated to celebrities. So if a conference has a $10,000 speaking budget and they've never heard of you before, they're probably going to want to get the person who's recognizable name. They'll write the $10,000 speaking fee goes to the famous person so that the audience will come to the conference because the famous person's coming. But if you have a strategy that you can afford to speak for free because you know you're going to make a lot of money from an offer, that's how you make a lot of money as a speaker. And I'll tell you a quick story. As a member of the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, every year we have a national convention. And there's a private room called the High Income Earner Room. And there's a high income earner meeting. And we have this meeting and you have to make $350,000 or more in order to be let into this room. And my first couple of years as a speaker, I didn't know what I was doing. I was barely making $40,000 a year. So I really wanted to get in that room. And the first year I got in the room was the room that the year that I started selling a high ticket coaching program. Because once I had a high ticket coaching program, I was speaking all over the place and making $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a speech. I'll speak for free wherever I can if it's the right audience, because I have an offer that'll generate $5,000. So I get in this room, and for an hour and a half, we went around the table and we all shared what is our money-making business model. And I was not surprised to learn that out of the 12 people who were at that table, 0 of them make a majority of their income from speaking fees. 100% of them make a majority of their income from speaking with the right audience, with the right offer. So it was like my mind was blown, because before getting into this room, I thought the way you make money as a speaker is you get paid to speak, and you get paid a lot of times, and you give a lot of speeches. So when I was making $40,000 a year as a speaker, I was thinking, if I could just make $1,000 a speech and speak 100 times a year, I'll make $100,000. And if you've ever been paid to speak, you know it is a long and slow and complicated buying procedure. There's the first email, and then there's the phone call, and then there's the proposal, and then there's the contract, and then there's the meeting, and then there's the going to the event and getting set up and doing the talk and sending the invoice and collecting the payment. And that's just one payment. You got to do this. You got to do that 100 times. So I really encourage you to have a high ticket offer. And since you're an expert speaker already, you're an expert in something, you're speaking on something, you can be a coach on that same topic. You don't need to go get a life coach certification to coach people. They just want you to apply your knowledge to their situation. You guys get it? Give me a thumbs up if you're getting the big idea. The big idea is, don't just wait for a keynote fee, have an offer, and be willing to speak for free for the right audience. That was the big insight. There was. That's it. Okay, back to our presentation. So Valerie, she came to me, and she does funerals, and she does like stationery for funerals. And she wanted to give more talks because she had a number of tragic deaths in her life, which made her the unfortunate expert in funerals. And she knows something that most people don't, and that is that there are a lot of decisions that you need to make within 24 hours of a death, and you're in no state of mind to be making those decisions. And she came up with this beautiful binder that's like a checklist and like a questionnaire that you can sit down with a loved one while they're still alive, and you can make all these decisions that you would have to make after they die. And it's actually a truly beautiful process. And so we branded her as the funeral whisperer. And we came up with a really clever speaking strategy. She doesn't have a funeral home. She just does stationery for funerals in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. But she was so passionate about sharing this message. She was going out for free, giving free talks. But she didn't have any way of making money. And she thought, like I thought, like, I wonder if there's a way to get a paid speaking engagement. You know, maybe there is. Maybe a conference will pay a few $1,000s for a professional speaker to come and talk about death. But you know who really wanted her to come in is funeral homes, because funeral homes wanted to have a way to outreach to the community before the death, to bring people into their funeral home space and get acquainted with the space and get acquainted with the brand. So she developed this talk, and she went out to the community and invited people to come to the talk for free. And at the end of the talk, she sold her binder for $500. And this $500 binder is a tool to have a meaningful conversation with a loved one and answer all these questions so as to make their death way less of a burden and way more of a beautiful experience. And she told the most emotional stories, and she made an offer at the end. The first time she gave this talk, she sold 20 binders at $500 each. She made $10,000 from a free speech at a funeral home. So she went home after that, and she went on Google and she searched funeral homes in Oklahoma City, and there's like 50 of them. And she went on a speaking tour in her own city, giving free talks at funeral homes with a $500 offer. So imagine what an impact you can have on your community or whoever it is that you want to share if you just had an offer that created a free talk, turned a free talk into a highly paid talk for you. And now imagine, okay, let's say Valerie had 100 people at her event and 20 people bought the binder and 80 people didn't. All 100 people are saying, thank you, that was so helpful. She got to impact 100 people. She got to really dramatically impact 20 people, because those 20 people, they paid $500. They're going to sit down and have those conversations. They're going to have those meaningful conversations, which is probably really impacting the families. So it's really fun for me to take someone who's passionate about their message and have a conversation and say, okay, how do we turn this into a money-making machine for you so that you can get out there and share this message far and wide, and maybe make it your full-time thing if that's what you want. So I'm going to invite you to book a one-on-one call with me, and we can have that conversation. If you already have a high-ticket offer, we can put together a strategy of how you get more speaking engagements. If you don't have a high-ticket offer and you want to just say, all right, knowing what I know, what should my offer be and what should my speaking strategy be? We can do that too. That's called a strategy call, and I'm going to do that for you for free. That is, of course, designed for me to find who I can help and who I can't help in my $5,000 coaching program. So if you're interested in my coaching, definitely book this call. So my story, I've shared it with you a little bit here, but my proud entry into the professional speaking world was with a $25 Starbucks gift card in Ottawa, Canada, at a retirement home. I was asked to speak at a retirement home on the topic of conflict resolution. And back in those days, I would just say yes to any speaking opportunity. So yeah, sure, conflict resolution. Yeah, I could talk about that. And I got a $25 Starbucks gift card, and I was like, all right, I am now a paid speaker, officially paid in Starbucks gift cards. Here's what I'm up to now. I've been a professional speaker for 12 years. 95% of my speaking is me in a room talking to a camera, either on my phone or on my computer, which is what I'm doing now, because I really value freedom and I really love travel. And I don't need to be on stages and getting on airplanes nearly as much as I used to be. You might be the opposite. You'd like to get on a speaking tour and go to 10 different cities. That's totally cool. What I have done is over 350 paid speaking engagements. In the beginning of my career, that was oftentimes corporate training. I would get corporate training contracts through companies like Learning Tree International or CTC Train Canada, and they would send me to corporate offices and government offices and do leadership training and time management training and communication training. So I have thousands and thousands of classroom hours. In terms of income, I've generated 2.47 million, and I was just checking here because I had someone asking me for proof of my income here. This is my Stripe account, opened up in 2015. For the first 2 years, $0 sold, and then had ups and downs and ups and downs. And here we are in May 2023, and the gross volume in sales so far is 2.47 million. And then other money's coming in through PayPals and physical checks and that sort of thing. Now, this is a combination of my coaching and my online courses. And as I mentioned earlier, I don't sell low ticket online courses. My online course sells for $5,000 and it comes with my coaching. My coaching comes with my online course. That's how I do that. The reason for that is I just don't believe in a low ticket self-study online course. For the work that I do, that's very transformational and very much requires deeply considering who you are and who you want to become, and really like overcoming some mindset, really transforming your mindset. That's not something you sit back and passively watch, click through videos and say, okay, now I know it. It's really a learn it, do it, implement it process. So my coaching comes with online courses, and my online courses come with coaching, and that's what this income represents. All right. So the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers, CAPS, I've been on the local chapter, I've been on the local board, I've been on the national board. And in the beginning of my speaking career, I sat down and interviewed dozens of professional speakers, and I got a job at a marketing agency specializing in branding speakers. They were building speaker websites, printing speaker business cards, doing speaker logos. And I realized the most successful speakers have figured out their personal brand. And if you haven't figured out your personal brand, or in other words, what makes you different, then you're in a sea of other speakers with a very similar message. And it's okay that your message sounds a lot like a lot of other people's, but you've got to have something unique about your story, your philosophy, your approach to solving the problem, so that you can show how you're different. Because if people can't figure out how you're different, then they're just going to look at your price and try to go with the cheapest price. And that's not the strategy I recommend. I recommend that you are on the higher end pricing, because price is part of your brand. And when people see that your price is high, their first assumption is, oh, they must be pretty good. So I do recommend having a high price and having a clearly differentiated personal brand. By the way, you and I can talk about that on our one-on-one call. If you're not clear what makes you different, you will be by the end of our call. So like I said, sold $2 million plus in online courses. I mentioned being paid $10,000 for a day of training at Fair Trade in Washington, D.C. So I've done all the things, the workshops, the paid speaking engagements, online speaking, TikTok, live stream, you name it, online courses, retreats. So there are many ways to distribute and sell your expertise. And what works for me is a high ticket coaching program paired with an online course using speaking as the marketing strategy. And this is where it all started, in the corner of my bedroom on a $75 IKEA desk, my humble beginnings. And I mentioned my mother. While I was in the up and coming in my speaking career, she was diagnosed bipolar and put on these lithium pills, and she kind of became a zombie. And we didn't really know what to do, because at the time our mindset was the doctor says, take pills, take pills. That's what the doctor says. And on the bottle, it says, when the pills run out, get refills. And she started getting side effects. So what did the doctor do for the side effects? More pills. So now she's got pills for side effects. And now the new pills have new side effects. So the new side effects get new pills from the side effects. So now she's got pills for the pills for the pills. And she's got a whole section of the kitchen counter, and she's just popping pills. This is what the pharmaceutical industry calls a good customer. So we didn't know better. So one day, my mother's friend walks into the local coffee shop in Carbondale, Illinois, and sees a poster on the wall advertising a free workshop called The Gut-Brain Connection: How the Food You Eat Affects Your Mental Health. And so my mother's friend goes and sits in a presentation, free presentation from a functional naturopathic doctor, I think it was, naturopathic doctor. Talks about this stuff called whole foods. And she goes home, she calls my mom, and she says, I think you should book a call with this lady, this doctor. And so my mom goes in to see the doctor. And the doctor says to my mom, what are you eating? And my mom says, oh, well, just regular stuff. And she goes through the list of stuff that we eat regularly, which at the time was frozen pizza, microwave burritos, Diet Coke, and Cinnamon Toast Crunch. That was literally, we had stacks and backup storage of boxes and boxes and boxes of cereal and cans and cans and cans of Coke and frozen pizzas stacked as high as the eye can see. And that was just literally just what we ate all the time. It was very convenient and delicious. But turns out that's not real food. And we didn't really know, or I didn't know what to do with vegetables or fruit, because we would buy them sometimes and then they would just grow mold and then we would just throw them away. So this doctor says to my mom, throw all that stuff out. That's not food. Only buy stuff that comes from the ground and doesn't have a label. And so my mom learned how to cook, basically, and learned how to buy stuff from the produce section, and completely transformed her health. Was able to totally reduce her medication, transformed her skin. Her hair was like thin and frail, and now it was nice and thick and shiny. Her skin was full of color. The life came back to her eyes. Back when my mom was really sick, she would sit on the couch for hours, and I stopped calling her mom and I started calling her Vicky. That's her name, Vicky. And she would just stare off for hours. And I was like, okay, that's not my mom. I'm just going to call that lady Vicky because that's what everyone else calls her. But I'm like, mom's not home anymore. So after this transformation, I was calling her Vicky for like years. After this transformation, I started calling her mom again. And now she's mom again. And I was so happy that I actually never got to meet this doctor. I don't know what this doctor's name is, but that one speech given now probably 8 years ago completely transformed the health of my family, transformed my health, transforms my kids' health, because that was our exposure to what we now call whole foods or real food. And so I told this story for the first time on a stage in Toronto at the Novotel in 2019. And I was almost in tears because it was still kind of fresh. And that transformed my business, because that was the moment I became passionate about helping health and wellness practitioners. And you got to find your story to tell that shares the moment that you became the expert passionate about what you do. So having this signature story in your speech is critical. Okay. So my mom always called me Majeed, you're going to be like the next Tony Robbins. And, I always grew up wanting to get paid to speak, and I wanted to travel. So I started saying, how do I go to cool places and come back with more money? How do I have a bigger impact? How do I have a bigger income? So if you're like me, you're not famous yet. Maybe you don't know where to start, because that's what I was doing, looking for places to speak, not sure what to do. If you don't know what to say or how to get booked and get paid, if these are your challenges, if you don't know what to do on stage to deliver great value and drive real results for your business, like sales and partnerships and authority and credibility, you're in the right place. This is what I've done for myself. I've done it for 400 other clients like you. And I wrote a book about it, and you can have the book for free. If you go to expertspeakerbook.com, take a picture of the screen or screen capture. You can go to expertspeakerbook.com and download it for free as a PDF, or you can buy it on Amazon for like $15. It takes you through my 5 stages: audience, offer, speech, stages, and monetize. These are the 5 steps of the method that lands speaking engagements, makes the right offer to the right audience, and gets on more stages and creates more sales. And I go through the whole thing. And if you want to listen to it, it's on Audible. You can listen to it as well. So how much is it costing you every single month to not have this strategy in your business? If it's hurting your heart not to share what you know, let's get you started. If you're afraid of the camera and if you don't like posting on social media, let's fix that. If you want to be on stage, but you don't know how to get speaking opportunities, let's fix that. If you want to launch a podcast, but you don't know where to start, let's do that. If you want to get on other people's podcasts and tell your story and expand your impact into the world, let's do that. You're on this call for a reason, because you have a mission, you have a message, you want to make an impact, and I want to help you. Maybe this sounds like you. You might have the Be More Awesome strategy. I used to think the reason I'm not getting speaking engagements is because I'm not awesome enough. I have to be more awesome. I have to go win more awards and do more awesome things. And then once I win awards and do awesome things, like writing books and getting published in Forbes and running a marathon or climbing a mountain, then someone will ask me to be a speaker. Or you might have the spray and pray approach, telling everybody, I'm a speaker, I'm a speaker, I want to speak, I want to speak, I'm a speaker. Or you might even go to LinkedIn and put on LinkedIn profile, speaker. And what happens? Nothing. Crickets. So imagine having a system that will predictably and consistently get speaking engagements for you. This is what we call the stage getting campaign. This is what Mark Cordone did to get 15 speaking opportunities in 2 months. This is what our clients do every month. We start the month and we say, how many speaking engagements do you want per month for the next 3 months? And then we plan their stage getting strategy, which is as simple as emails and phone calls and a spreadsheet. Imagine having as many speaking opportunities as you want. Could be one a week, could be one a month, could be one online, could be one in person. How many conferences do you want to speak at this year? How many podcasts do you want to be on every month? What if you had a plan and a system that worked? So what we do is we find the right audience and the right offer and build the speech, and then we have the strategy to get you on the right stages to drive sales. So our model is about impact and income, and I am a lifestyle entrepreneur. I work to travel. I don't take calls on Mondays. I don't take calls on Fridays. I take my kids to work in the morning. I bike my kids to work. After this, I'm going on a hike, as I mentioned. This is not a 100-hour work week. It's not even a 40-hour work week. You work as much as you want, but I believe that your business should be driving the lifestyle that you want. And since you are the embodiment of your message, you cannot look haggard. You cannot be stressing and grinding your way to success. You got to be living the life that you want to be living now. And if speaking is a part of that, let's do it in a way that makes your life better and easier, not harder. Let's do it in a way that grows you. You know, I'm growing my audience. I'm now in the hundreds of thousands of followers, and I've also got to learn about haters. I'm getting more haters now because there's millions of people seeing my stuff, and some of them don't like what I look like, or they don't like what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking about when I think of growth. I also think of growth when I think about who I've got the privilege to share the stage with. I've shared the stage with some really amazing people that I now call my friends. I get to travel and co-host retreats with incredible people. I'm going to Budapest in July with some amazing clients of mine. This is what growth is for me. What is growth for you? What do you want your speaking life to do for you? Why is this important for you? And you really got to be connected to your own why. And if it's about making money, go one step further and say, what will that money do for you? What does freedom do for you? And, you know, I have a friend of mine, he's worth over $250 million. He owns $2 billion companies. He's got a wife and 3 kids. And every time we hang out, he says, Majeed, I really envy your lifestyle. Because he sees how much freedom I have designed into my life. He's not given himself that privilege to be free. And it's a lot about mindset, choosing freedom. So I want that for you. And I know that if you don't feel like you have enough money now, that can feel very constrictive. I want you to feel that you can hop on an airplane this afternoon and be anywhere in the world because there's always more money coming and you have the skill to generate more money, not just because you have it in the bank, but because you have the skill and you can trust the skill to generate more income. And this is the way I've done that, is through speaking and high ticket coaching. So we tell stories in our speech because it builds the like, no trust factor. It's emotional, it's memorable, and it's fun. So your speech must have stories. And there are very specific stories that your speech must have that generate feelings in your audience that they want to hire you. And the way you tell those stories in a way that's really memorable is an art. And I would invite you now to consider the fact that you are, in fact, an artist. Yes, you're a communicator. Yes, you're a chiropractor. Yes, you're a consultant. Yes, you're an IT consultant. And consider the fact that you may be an artist and that this is a performance. And I think that will actually help you become a better storyteller. So a few quick secrets about stories. They should make your ideal client feel connected to you. They're going to have this feeling in themselves. They're going to go, I like that person because they remind me of me. Secret number 2 is that it should prove that you can solve their problem. So show specific results that you've created for yourself and for others that help your audience see that you, in fact, can help them solve their problem. Through stories. Show them through stories. Don't just make claims. Prove it through stories. Here's a structure to think about with stories. Imagine your client is trapped and stuck on an island called Pain Island, and they're struggling there. And imagine they want to get to a place called Pleasure Island, and you have the boat. So show them the journey from their Pain Island to their Pleasure Island. And here's a tip. Don't talk too much about the boat because the boat doesn't really matter that much. It just matters that it works. Spend more time talking about Pleasure Island. So for me and you, your Pain Island is you've got a gift, your wisdom, your program, your services. You're really freaking good at what you do. And not enough people know about you, and not enough people are trying to hire you. Pleasure Island is you got so many people knowing about you, so many people trying to hire you that you've got a waiting list, that you've doubled or tripled or quadrupled your price, and you still have a waiting list. You have people calling from Dublin, Ireland, wanting to pay you $7,500 US to come and give a 30-minute talk because they found you on TikTok. That happened last week. That was cool. That's Pleasure Island. So imagine your Pleasure Island. Imagine having speaking opportunities where you've got hundreds or thousands of people really, really helping you. You're really, really helping them with your message. Imagine speaking on summits where 10,000 people are Zoom, tuning in live on Zoom, signing up for your program. Boom, another client, boom, another client, boom, another client, cha-ching, another client, cha-ching, another client. Imagine your bank account having a lot more zeros in it than you're used to, followed by numbers. Not like a zero balance, but like, the first time I had $100,000 cash in my bank account blew my mind because it was not many years after making only $40,000 a year. You walk a little taller when you've got $100,000 cash in your bank account. It's a lot easier to go out to dinner and not have to order from the menu thinking about what does it cost. It's a lot easier to say, I'll buy the plane ticket. If first class is important to you, I'll upgrade to first class. If you want to invite your whole family to come and they say, gosh, we wish we could come, but we can't afford it. No problem. I'll buy everybody's tickets. Whatever it is for you, the distance between Pain Island and Pleasure Island for you, I'm telling you, is a signature speech to the right audience with the right offer. Secret number 3, your story should be unforgettable. What makes a story unforgettable? It's vivid, it's compelling, it's told with passion, it's visual. So here's an example. Angela Lauria, brilliant entrepreneur. She's a book coach. She helps people get published. She has a very high-priced, high-ticket coaching program, $15,000 program, followed by a $35,000 offer. And this offer is made in a 3-day event. And she hired me to help her improve this 3-day event. And she wanted to go from 20% of the room buying her $35,000 offer to 50% of the room. So I looked at how she was doing. I audited her whole program. I watched her 3-day event. And I said, Angela, you're doing way too much teaching, not enough storytelling. So we turned all of her lessons into stories. The first time she did it, she sent me this email. 81% close rate. Out of the 16 eligible buyers at the event, I sold 13. Every little $390,000 helps. So she got $390,000 in sales out of 13 clients out of 16 people. So 81% close rate. And she had above 50% close rate ever since then. And all she did was turn it from teaching facts into stories, because stories are memorable and they're emotional. Here's Chris Kadowski, the body hacker I was telling you about earlier. He said, I wanted to share a huge win. I know I'm not on the calls all the time, but I posted my video. So he did a video of his signature speech, and he said, at 9 a.m, I got a call from New Mexico. Intrigued, I answered it. A lady by the name of Yvonne was on the other end telling me she saw my video on YouTube and that it was forwarded to her by a friend. She told me she bawled her eyes out at the end of the video, realized she needs to make a change in her life, and I closed her for a $7,000 sale. I was floored at how easy the process was. Thank you, Majeed. So the story that we put into his speech was his mother passed away from cancer. And at the end of her life, he's holding her hand. She's lying in bed in a hospital, and she looks up to him and she says, Chris, I never knew how to be healthy, but you got to learn how to be healthy so this doesn't happen to you. And that really hit this lady who watched the video, made her realize she needed to change. She hired Chris for $7,000, and I'm sure he changed her life. So I want you to have a story like that in your speech that gets people crying, saying, I want to change my life. Here's Kirsten Tate, reader. She says she got her first client, a webinar, scheduled appointment, closed on a sale. It was super easy. Thanks for crafting the speech. She did the sales call outline, the value casting, and the closing words. So one of the things I teach my clients is what to say on the call. So you just delivered your speech, they booked a call. What do you actually say on the call to help them decide to work with you or not? So that's Kirsten, who was brand new with her new offer. So I like to think my mom is proud. I like to think her story is now out there for hundreds of thousands of people. And I don't know what your cause is, but I really know that you do need to be deeply emotionally connected to your own cause. You may or may not resonate with Tony Robbins. I got to see him once. I went to this conference. Here's me high-fiving his poster. in Ottawa, Canada, and I got my picture taken with him. And he's extremely tall, and I'm scared, as you can see in my eyes. That's the fear in my eyes. And Tony's got a gift, and he's helped millions of people, and you got a gift, and you're here to serve whoever you are here to serve. And I believe it's not just your privilege, this gift you have, it's actually also your responsibility. So I'm Majeed like magic, pulling the rabbit out of the hat. What I can do for you is pull your story out of you, pull your speech out of you, and help you see yourself as the person who can get the speaking engagement, deliver the right talk, get the clients, and generate the income so that you can have the life that you want, have the impact that you want, have the business that you want. And if you've had time on the stage, you know how powerful it is to drive your credibility. And if you're not saying the right words and you're not giving the right speech, you're really missing an opportunity to actually help people really change their lives by letting them raise their hand and hire you. So I would love to show you how to do that. Here's what we can do next. All right, let's increase your impact and income. Let's get you to be an expert speaker. If you would like my help with this, schedule a call with me right now. expertspeaker.com/apply was going to take you to my calendar, and you're going to see my availability, and I'm going to give you an hour of my time. And there's no cost to this. This is for people who are ready to invest $5,000 in coaching. I'm going to help you with your personal brand, your signature speech, your stage getting strategy, your high ticket offer, so that you can have all the pieces you need. If you need to generate money quickly, I'm going to show you how to do this very, very quickly. This does not need to take you months. This can be done in days and weeks. If $5,000 is out of your price range, we have payment plans. But I don't charge less than $5,000 because I want you to be fully committed and I want you to get world-class support from me. Okay. This is not a free coaching call. This is an opportunity for us to see if you've got what it takes to be in this program and if I can actually help you. So it's for you if you've got a high ticket program and you want support selling more of it. If you want to be speaking, if you want to create a high ticket program, if you don't have it yet, it's for you. So I'm going to put this in the chat and now I'm going to take questions. I'm going to put the link, expertspeaker.com/apply. Click on the link or go to that and book your call with me right now. If this has been super valuable for you, type the word valuable in the chat. And there you have it. I'm going to keep the recording going, so your question will live on in history for the people who watch the recording. All right, Wilma, valuable beyond measure. Edwin, valuable. So Edwin, why don't you unmute yourself and tell me about the speaking. You said you wanted to start a speaking career. Tell me what you want to do with that.
Yes, I actually am an accredited speaker through Toastmasters, so I've developed my speaking abilities. That light there. I'm a world record holder in 100-mile races. I've ran more 100-mile races than anybody in the world, so I've learned a lot about that can apply to other aspects of life. But I'm not quite sure where I want to go with my speaking, and I could have a high ticket item coaching people to run their first 100-mile race, but it could go beyond that. So I'm just at this point exploring possibilities.
Well, as I'm sure you know, running a 100-mile race is chock-a-block full of metaphors.
Right. That apply to life in general.
That apply to life for people who don't run 100-mile races. And I'll tell you, there's a single word that is the highest paid topic in professional speaking. And it's the highest paid topic in a recession, in a bull market, in a bear market, in a pandemic, year-round, 24/7. The word is leadership. Leadership speakers make the most money, period. So I would brand yourself as a leadership expert because you led yourself to the finish line more times than any other human. And leadership starts by leading yourself. And the metaphor is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. In your case, a 100-mile marathon, 100-mile race. And to learn what it took for you to get through all the times that you were wanting to quit, all the times that you were doubting, all the good excuses, good reasons why you maybe should have quit and didn't. Those are very memorable stories full of metaphor. And if you can help people understand concepts through metaphor, that's in fact what metaphors are. Metaphors are a way of explaining a concept that people don't understand by using something that they can understand to understand it. That's what a metaphor is, right? So you're a metaphorical leadership, tenacity, grit kind of speaker. Okay. And you can be a highly paid keynote speaker just for that. As far as your high ticket coaching offer, of course, it makes sense that you could be an endurance coach for runners. That's quite obvious. And by all means, sell that. But you might be able to charge 10 times more to work with a CEO and teach them over a 90-day period discipline, grit, tenacity, mental toughness, which are skills that you are world class in.
Great. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Any other questions before we part for the day? Yeah, Wilma, the link to chat is expertspeaker.com/apply. I'll put it in the chat and I'll put it on the screen one more time. And I'll monitor the chat. If you want to just unmute yourself and ask your question, or if we don't get any other questions in the next 30 seconds, we'll call it a day.
I have a question. I have a question.
Wendy, you got it. Go ahead.
Is there any hope for someone who doesn't want to get on the stage anymore, who would be happy to talk to groups online, etc., but just doesn't want to step on stage?
Wendy, you're talking to someone who is retired from the stage. I love being home with my kids. I love taking my kids to school. And there were just too many FaceTime calls for me to my little babies growing up when I thought there's got to be a better way. And the first time I did a webinar, I remember this very vividly. This wasn't the very first webinar ever, but I was in Costa Rica in a villa, in a hut. And I was doing a live webinar on Zoom for a room full of naturopathic doctors in Toronto in February. And you know how it is in February in Toronto. It's not the warmest, right? And I was there in Costa Rica feeling pretty good about my choice. And at the end of the talk, there was a line formed to ask me questions. And it was a line in some hotel in Toronto where they were waiting to stand in front of the laptop. And then at the end of the presentation, I said, all right, guys, really nice talking to all of you. I'm going to go take my kids to this cloud forest in Costa Rica, and just felt like sharing that with them. And I was feeling like I was maybe bragging a little bit, although I'm sure it was lovely in Toronto for them at that conference. And I closed the laptop. And as you know, that moment when you get off the Zoom call and you're like, oh yeah, I'm by myself in a room. You know? So I get off the Zoom and I'm done. I have my little like adrenaline come down here. And I looked at my email and I had 15 strategy calls booked. And over the course of the next week in Costa Rica, I was talking to these people one at a time. And if memory serves, about 8 of them became clients, which represents 40,000 in revenue for me. And the way I do my high ticket offer, it's a $5,000 program. And then at the end of the $5,000 program, I have a $15,000 program. And about half the people sign up to the $15,000 program because they like the first one so much. So do the math on that. 8 people at 5,000 is 40,000. If 4 of those people also then signed up for my $15,000 program, that's another 60,000 on top of the 40,000. That was a $100,000 speech from Costa Rica, right? So absolutely yes. You've got to give me a real good reason to get on an airplane to give a talk somewhere out of town. And even in town, in Ottawa, if someone wants me to do a talk, I say, let's do it on Zoom. I love talking on Zoom. But I will say this, I haven't produced significant results where I can really recommend a winning strategy for taking a recording and driving like cold traffic at a recording that generates sales. It really is for me live presentations. But yes, absolutely, I can do live presentations on Zoom. Did I answer your question, Wendy?
Very much so, thanks.
Yeah. And I think that's the way the world is going. The way the world is going is, and I also think it really speaks to how you value your own time. You know, just before today's presentation, I was doing whatever it is I was doing here at home. And right afterwards, I'm going on this hike. If I would have done this 1 hour presentation somewhere downtown Ottawa, it would have taken the whole day. You know, you drive in, you get there an hour early, you find parking, you set everything up, you test everything. You know, you don't need to do that anymore. You really don't.
I have a question. You mentioned the giving the presentation in Costa Rica. You've traveled all over the world doing this kind of thing. How do you find the internet and Wi-Fi technology is? Like, are you often ending up having technical issues?
Yeah,
and
good
having
question. Good question. And actually, I just remembered about 6 weeks ago, I was in Lisbon, Portugal. And I have a contact there who runs this organization with about 500 members, and they have like professional development seminars. And he wanted to host me for a workshop. And so we had a venue and we promoted it and registration and everything. And we had like 12 people show up. And I didn't get any strategy calls or any sales. And it took the whole day. And it just reminded me, like, oh, we could, if we would have done this on Zoom, we probably would have had 10 times as many people show up, you know? And so even though I was just excited to be, oh, I'm giving a presentation in Portugal, this is cool. But actually, I think I probably should have done it on Zoom. So back to the previous question. So most of the time when I'm traveling, the Wi-Fi and electricity is just as reliable as it is at home. And this past winter here in Ottawa, we like lost power for like 3 days. However, I was fully up and running the whole time because I can connect my laptop to the internet from my phone. And it seems like even if the whole power's out in the whole city, internet's still working on the phone, right? So another time I really was tested was I was in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka at the time, it was just the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war, and supply chains were blocked so that they couldn't get diesel. And like there was like huge lines at the gas station. People were waiting like all day to get a gallon of gas. And in order to ration the electricity, they would turn it off for hours at a time on purpose. They were calling it power cuts. The power cuts today are this time to this time. And I was running a 3-day training on Zoom, and the power was getting cut. Now, my trainings go from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern, which in Sri Lanka is like 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. or something like this. So it was the middle of the night. The power was cutting out. So it was dark. And yet my service was uninterrupted. My program was uninterrupted because my laptop runs on a battery. I have a backup battery pack that I could charge my entire laptop from 0 to 100 again, just on this like little portable battery. My phone runs on a battery. And even when the power is cut, the cell phone works. So my computer was getting internet from my cell phone. And my setup was actually like a table, and I put my laptop on like a stack of books so that I could stand. And then I had a flashlight on my face because the lights in the room would go out. So I would put a flashlight on my face to light my face up. So even then, as long as cell phone service works, I'm good. Now, I was just in Morocco, had this similar situation, although we had power the whole time. And as a backup, I buy multiple SIM cards to multiple carriers. And I even travel with 2 iPhones, just in case one iPhone is stolen or shatters. I got a backup. So there are risks, but nothing that can't be mitigated with some backup strategies.
Thank you. I think that would be a good talk for the CAPS membership.
Oh, I'm happy to talk about it. And, you know, I'm hosting this retreat in Budapest, and I'll share with you what that's about. So it's called the Travel Profitably Retreat. And it's based on my philosophy that growing up as a kid, we never traveled as a family because my dad always said we can't afford it. And I always thought like traveling's for like rich people. And so I grew up thinking that if I could just get paid to travel, or maybe better yet, make money while I'm traveling, then that sort of gives me permission to travel. So I've learned how to do that. I've traveled and make money while I'm traveling simply by doing my coaching business while I'm traveling. So I've set up this retreat in Budapest where we're all going to try to make $50,000 or more in less than 7 days by selling high ticket offers. So we're going to create the offer, generate the marketing, do the sales, all while we're there in Budapest. It's called the Travel Profitably Retreat. So Budapest is 6 hours ahead of Eastern time zone. So when it's 9 a.m. here, it's going to be 3 p.m. there. So we're going to start our workday at 3 p.m. So we're going to do like sightseeing and goofing off before 3 p.m. And then we're going to work for like 4 hours starting at 3 throughout the week. And so, you know, on the packing list is going to be bring that spare battery. I don't know what the electrical reliability is in Budapest, but we're going to have a spare battery. We're going to have the international converter plugs. We're going to have the new SIM cards, all that stuff. And so they get to have the experience. And I want to teach my clients, I want to show my clients the experience of landing in a foreign country where maybe you can't read the writing, maybe you can't speak the language, but within a couple hours, you can be fully operational, new SIM card, plug, converter, whatever, Wi-Fi, etc. Now, there's another philosophy I practice from a principle in my business, which is that I could get all of my gear stolen, iPhone, laptop, everything, and I could be up and running, fully functional on someone else's laptop or phone within minutes. So imagine I grab your cell phone. I'm going to log into my Facebook through the Facebook app. I'm going to log into my Gmail through the Gmail app. I'm going to log into my Zoom through the Zoom app. And I'm running my whole business from your phone with just usernames and passwords, because everything I have is on the cloud. Nothing stored on physical hard drives anywhere. So that's just a design principle designed for resilience to hardware malfunctions or losing the hardware. Does that make sense?
Yep. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, everybody, thank you for being part of this recording, and thank you for being part of this training. And I look forward to speaking with those of you who've booked your call. Have a great day.
Thanks, Majeed.
Bye.